I kind of wanted to start this video like some kind of self-help thing. Are you unhappy with your life? Do you wish you had more? Are you sick of working 9 to 5 just for a retirement that you can't enjoy because you're old? But I'm not going to do that. Hello everyone and welcome back. If you are new here, I am Jess Shanahan. I'm an entrepreneur, a petrolhead turned EV owner and a future of mobility expert. And today I'm going to give you a simple overview of lifestyle design and how you can get started with it. So I get it. You might be skeptical. You might be thinking, Jess, have you gone insane? Is this, some kind of new age shit that doesn't work that's just going to give me a ton of false hope? Well, no, that's actually not how it works. In fact, it can be as simple as you want, or it can be as big as you want. Lifestyle design isn't about giving yourself false hope. In fact, it's actually quite the opposite. It's about giving yourself a clear path of how you're going to get the lifestyle that you want. We're all taught that we're supposed to work hard in our 9 to 5 so we can then go and retire and do the things that we've always wanted to do. But why would you work so hard under so much stress just to miss the best years of your life? And I'm not saying that people in their mid-60s, late 60s, 70s can't live their best life and have a wonderful time in retirement, but why would you wait? Wouldn't you want to design the life that you want now? Wouldn't you want to do all of those fun things that you're planning for retirement and that you're working so hard for now, if you could? That's what lifestyle design is about. It's about kind of kicking to the curb this notion that, we're supposed to work in a 9 to 5 and then go and retire when we're 65, 70, whatever the age will be when someone like me is able to retire. I want to live that life now. I don't want to wait until those later years in my life. And I think this is why I'm such a big proponent of lifestyle design, because I don't see why you should wait. I'm certainly not going to wait to go and live the life that I want to. You don't have to wait for retirement. There are things that you can do to live the life that you want now. Why wouldn't you do that? That is what lifestyle design is about. It's not about false hope. It's about designing something that you can live now so you don't have to wait for retirement. I have done this through my whole career. At the beginning, it was kind of unknowingly, but as I started my own business, so within the last 10 years or so, I was doing it with purpose and precision because I knew that, in quitting my job, which was a big risk, I could take control of my life and give myself that freedom to do the things that I wanted. So right now, for me, well, maybe not right now, pandemic, but for the most part, for me, that means being able to go off to a racetrack during the week or spend my weekends at a race, because a lot of the work I do is in motorsport and I've designed that for myself. Also means I can go on road trips, drive gorgeous cars, because again, I chose that life for myself. I decided to go into a job where that could be something I do. But previously in my career, that meant following bands around Europe. It meant going to award ceremonies. And then later it meant sitting front row at London Fashion Week. All because I was interested in music and then fashion, and now cars and motorsport. So throughout my career, even as my interests and my passions have changed, I've been able to design a life for myself that includes those things that I want in my day-to-day. Let me know in the comments if you want another video about exactly how I have designed my life so I can do these things like take days off whenever I want to go lay in bed or go to a racetrack or, being able to do a 3-week road trip just because I have the freedom in my life to do that. If you'd like a video on literally the step-by-step process I took to get to this point, then let me know in the comments and I will absolutely do that for you guys. So lifestyle design is actually quite popular with digital nomads. So the kinds of people that want to spend their lives on a beach, still earning money, but able to travel the world and go to those gorgeous places, but also with entrepreneurs who want to build a business that funds their lifestyle, but doesn't take up too much of their time. Now, this is something with businesses where people start a business thinking it could be their ticket to freedom, but they never plan it in a way that means that they can step out of the business and let it run itself. So whether you're a business owner, digital nomad, you're working for a company, whatever it might be, there are steps you can take to design this life that you want. But it doesn't have to be this big. So in this video, I'm going to take you through a step-by-step process that's actually quite simple. It's a distilled version of more complex lifestyle design, but it can be as small, as big as you need it to be. So for the purpose of showing you how this works, I'm going to use 2 examples that hopefully you'll be able to relate to. The first is a life where you're not working all hours of the day, you don't have to worry about money, and you have the freedom to spend the time with the people that you love the most. The second is a life that enables you to spend money on an expensive hobby and not feel any guilt about it. So that might be cycling, snowboarding, photography, but I am going to use motorsport for this example because that's what I know best. So step 1 is take the time to think about what this life is that you want. Now I've just given 2 examples, but yours might be completely different. It might be really small and simple. You might be 80% of the way there, or it might seem at this stage quite a way off, and that's fine. This is why we're doing this now. Pandemic is a fantastic time to do lifestyle design, and even if you're coming to this video later, after the pandemic, what's that like? Can't even imagine now. But if you're coming to this video later, whatever stage of your life you're in, it's just going to help you live a more enjoyable life. So I would actually always encourage you to think big. I think a lot of us have these preconceived notions that we can't do something, that we can't earn enough money, that we can't travel, that we can't have that dream car. But actually that scarcity mindset isn't always helpful to us when we are trying to achieve our dream life. And I'm not saying that you need to give yourself false hope by saying, hey, I can get an Aston Martin, let's go for it. Because it doesn't work like that. There needs to be steps, and I'm going to take you through that. So when you're thinking about this dream life for yourself, be honest. Does it look like something that you have now? Is it very similar to where you're at the moment? There's a bigger conversation to have around the problems that you need to overcome and your circumstances. So Bill Burnett, an expert who wrote about lifestyle design, says that there's circumstance, and you can't really get over circumstance when you're trying to design your ideal life, unless you are willing to see those circumstances as a problem. And it might be that's the person that you're married to, it might be your living situation, it might be your job. We can put the blame on our circumstances. And often if you do that, you can't get past them. And if you're not willing to address that, that's fine. But it's worth watching Bill Burnett's TED Talk on lifestyle design if you want a bit of extra watching after this on YouTube. It's a really, really interesting, thought-provoking thing that makes you think, well, this circumstance that I'm in, whether it's, location, relationship, job, whatever it might be, is it actually a problem that's stopping me getting what I want? And that's a hard conversation to have with yourself, and perhaps not, the simplest method of lifestyle design that I want to show you guys, but it's something worth thinking about further on down the line if you do want to get serious about this. So let's say you are thinking big. Do you want that Ferrari, that Aston Martin, that Lamborghini, that, expensive holiday every year? Write it down, because it can be a valid part of this lifestyle design process. And again, this isn't about saying that so you're hoping that one day you will have these things. We're going to map out exactly what it takes to get those things. I know this aspirational thinking makes some people feel really uncomfortable because we're all taught not to talk about money, especially here in the UK. And we're told that being open about our income and our goals and even chasing wealth is a bad thing. It's not. It shouldn't be. And it's actually quite sad that, a lot of people feel like this. But for this exercise, you are writing down these things for yourself. You don't ever have to share these with people. But if you're comfortable with it, really think about what you want. Don't just think about what's close to what you have now. What's the next step? Think a few steps ahead. So I'm going to use this whiteboard setup, which is an idea that I've stolen from the amazing channel Another Station and Another Mile, which is all about trains and train stations, which if you're into any kind of transport, I encourage you to watch it. It's really good. So I'm going to use a whiteboard just to illustrate this in the way that I would write it down, because I would probably use a notebook or a whiteboard or something like that. So let's start with that first idea of a life where you're not working all hours of the day. So I'm going to make just various different points. So okay, there's point number 1. So not having to worry about money. And then the next one, spend more time with people you love. So I would start by converting these two into something slightly more positive. Now, this is super positive. This is a thing that you want to do. These are things that you want to get rid of. And we want to talk about the abundance mindset. So what do you want more of? Work fewer hours for more freedom. And then the not worrying about money, I would turn into something like having enough money to do the things I want to do. So I would say that for this first example, this is the plan. This is the life that you want to get. Yeah? So these are the things that you will be working towards in your lifestyle design. And we'll go through step by step how you turn this into a plan. But before we do that, let's go into this second example. Just flip this guy over. So let's talk about a life that enables you to spend money on an expensive hobby. Now I'm going to use motorsport as the example here, and I'm going to go straight in with those positive examples. So I don't want to talk about what you don't want to do, talk about what you do want to do. So free time to go racing. Like, that's the dream, right? So racing is an expensive hobby, can cost tens of thousands of pounds, hundreds of thousands of pounds if you want it to, but obviously you can do it on a budget as well. Obviously this is completely up to you and the type of racing that you want to do, but I'm going to put enough cash to go racing, but I'm just going to put in here spare. Because it might be that now working your 9 to 5, you do have enough cash to go racing, but that's perhaps at the detriment of, family time or going out with your friends or whatever it might be. So I'm putting enough spare cash. You might be happy just to spend all of the money that you have on racing, but I think for most people, it'll be that leftover money that is key to them. And again, this can apply to photography, cycling, snowboarding, skiing, whatever expensive hobby that you want to pursue. Now, with this simple lifestyle design method, I'd stick with one type of life, like the one life that you would love to live. But there's nothing wrong with exploring different lives. So once you have this life that you want to live, it's worth thinking about how you can test it, because there's no point in designing something if you don't know it's going to work. So think about the design process of a car for a minute. When a manufacturer releases a design of a concept car, they're not saying, hey, this is coming out in 10 years' time. They're presenting an idea to see if it works. And that's exactly the same thing that you're doing here with lifestyle design. So once you have your idea, and let's run with this car design analogy, you need to prototype it. So this lifestyle you want, you need to create a prototype to see if it works. So with the car, you need to see if it's as beautiful as originally thought, but you also need to see if it works. So for you, when designing this life that you want, test it out, see if it works, because it might be that you actually want something very, very different. Let's say that you want to spend more time traveling with your family. Now, before you go and make any big life changes, take a trip that emulates that lifestyle that you want, because you can really work out what it is about that family time and that travel time that you really love. And it might be that your design and your plan actually changes after this prototyping stage. Or if you do want to chase that digital nomad life, don't quit your job in the hope that you can get some freelance work. Just take 2 or 3 weeks off work, book a trip to Bali or whatever gorgeous place that you fancy, and do some work. Whether that's writing your novel, doing some social media for friends, or picking up 1 or 2 small freelance jobs, do that in that time and see if it is the thing that you want. Because it might be that actually you hate it. It might be that digital nomad life isn't for you after all. So it's worth testing these things. And again, the same goes for the race car lifestyle, the life where you don't have to work at all. You might find that's really boring. So really think about how you can test these things by emulating small parts of this lifestyle that you want and just seeing what works, because it'll help you to piece together the final design that you can then work on. Once you've settled on a lifestyle that does work for you, whether that means you've prototyped it or you haven't, or you just know deep down that this is the thing that you want, it's time to think about how you get there. So again, this isn't about, I want an Aston Martin, but with no follow through. This is about, what do I need to change? What do I need to do to get that Aston Martin? And I'm going to run you through the 2 examples that I started with. Let's go through those now. So you'll notice that I got rid of these negative things up here. So I'm just going to write these things that need to happen along the top here. And then I'll turn this around and show you. Okay, but what if you're thinking bigger? Like, how much time do you want to spend with loved ones? This might be your family, it might be friends, it might be those people that moved across the other side of the world that you don't see very much anymore. I have friends like that. So actually, is 1 day off per week enough? Do you actually want to have a job that allows you to take 4 days off a week? Think about that. But I'm going to leave it as 1 day off a week per now, because this is often a good starting point. This can evolve. So work fewer hours. So this kind of links into that. How many fewer hours? Is it just freeing up 1 day? Is it only doing half days? Is it having the flexibility to work when you want? So that's the big question. What does this actually mean? And then have enough money to do all the things that you want to do. Well, first off, all the things that you want to do, how much are they going to cost? Because this actually can encompass so many different things. You really need to think about the figure associated with this. And this is getting into more complex lifestyle design. So I'm not going to go into this in too much detail, but actually what is enough money to you? You need to think about that. So from this, it looks like you either need a different job, a better paid job, or just flexibility within your current job. Because it might be that your current job pays really well, or you could get a small pay rise maybe to have that enough money while taking time off. So that might be. So that might just be a conversation with your boss about reducing your hours. Or it could be start that side hustle. You know, are there, business ideas out there that could fund this lifestyle for you? Have you always thought about drop shipping, affiliate marketing, doing a YouTube channel, writing a book, or maybe you have just an incredible app idea? So I would encourage you to go deeper. So what do you need to do to start that side hustle? Is there research, funding, advice that you need? Do you need to learn something in order to be able to do that? Think about all this stuff because this is really, really important. And I would break all of these down. So, okay, to learn stuff, what do you need to do? Do you need to research what qualifications are needed for that kind of business or side hustle you want to set up? Do you need to just watch a ton of YouTube videos on something to kind of get an idea of what you need to do next? Keep breaking it down, and this will really help you. So let's go into racing lifestyle design. So it's kind of a similar story here. A lot of lifestyle design revolves around being able to give yourself enough freedom in what you do in order to be able to live the life that you want. Typically, that means doing something with your job or with your business that allows you that freedom. So let's look at free time to go racing. So most racing takes place on weekends. So you definitely need weekends free. Okay, so that's a big one. But also, if you want to be any good, you probably have to test. You often have to get to the racetrack on a Friday. So you kind of need a Fridays off. And then maybe time for test days. Now, not all racing needs that much time. Some racing can just take place on the weekends. You don't need to test. It depends on your level of kind of seriousness about this. But let's go, the whole hog here. So you need all of this time free. Well, that means one of a few things. So it might be that you get a part-time job with enough money that covers this. That might be quite tricky depending on what the job is. You might have flexible working. So maybe you work for a really trendy company that is happy for you to take time off when you need to, as long as the work gets done, as long as they're getting results. But then there are other options. Being self-employed. So you still have to work in your business, but you have that kind of flexibility because you're the boss, or own a bigger business. So this could be that, maybe you've built a team and you can kind of leave them to run things. Being self-employed and owning a bigger business are kind of similar, but this one typically, you'll be working on your own. You won't have to worry about other people. You can just take time off and not do anything in your business on that day where you need to test or drive the car down to the racetrack, meet with the team, whatever it might be. Owning a bigger business suggests that it's kind of running in the background and that perhaps there are other people handling the day-to-day while you are off doing your racing thing. You might look at this and think, well, which one? That's actually up to you. Maybe it's not going to work because the money's not there. Maybe this means a massive change in the type of career that you have. Being self-employed might be the best option here, depending on who you are, the ideas you have, etc. Owning a bigger business might take time to build up. So actually, maybe the plan is you start here and you come to this later. So you can always start self-employed, give yourself that freedom and flexibility, and turn it into a bigger business with staff later. Now, obviously, all of this fun racing stuff comes down to this big thing that controls motorsport: money. You have to work out how much money that is. So are you doing a race series that's like 10 grand for the season? Are you going banger racing for 200 quid a weekend? Or are you getting super serious and we're looking at like hundreds of thousands of pounds? Now, these two things, being self-employed or owning a bigger business, can make it easy to go racing, but what if you can't afford it? So what can you do as a self-employed person or as a bigger business owner to earn that kind of cash? Let's say you need £10,000 to go racing over a year. Break that down by month, and that's £833 per month. That's how much extra you need to earn over a year to go racing without sacrificing any of your current money. So what about per day? If you divide 833 by 30, you get 27.77, etc., etc. So this means you only need to earn £27.77 a day in order to get the £10,000 that you need in order to go racing. So let's say that your side hustle is selling some kind of product that costs $27.77. You only need to sell one product a day in order to get to that goal. Look at the figures as well. And again, this is slightly more complex lifestyle design, but it's worth showing you because this is quite a nice example of how actually that's all the money you need to earn extra in a day. That could be an hour's overtime. This could be a year of delivering Amazon parcels so you can race next year. It could be going to a craft fair or something like that and selling your handmade jewellery. That's all you need to make an extra £10,000 a year. Try breaking down, what is this big goal? Okay, £10,000 might seem really, really hard to achieve. But if you break that down by month and then by day, it's so much easier to get there. From this design process and this plan, you'll start to see what you need to do to get to where you want to be. And I hope from these examples that you're starting to see how this might work for you. So I'd really, really encourage you to sit down and do this and plan this, even if you're skeptical and even if you start small. Start thinking about what can you do now to enjoy your life more. Now, with all of this, I'm going to give a caveat. You need to allow flexibility in your plan for luck. Now, I don't believe in luck. I actually think luck is this construct that people use as an excuse. But typically, you'll find that lucky people are the ones that believe in this kind of thing. They tend to have the abundance mindset, which means they're more open to opportunities and new ideas. There are serendipitous things that happen in everyone's life that you can't plan for. You couldn't even see that they're coming. Serendipity and luck are actually really important parts of this, so don't think that this is some hard, structured thing that you have to stick to. So I know that this simple video has actually turned out quite long, but I wanted to take you through these kind of basic steps to get you started on designing your own lifestyle. So you don't have to wait. You can live in the now and you can do things now that are going to make you happy because you deserve it. And you might have watched this video and realized that you need to actually make some big changes in your life. Or you might have watched this and thought, I'm almost there. There's just a few small things to do. Either one is perfectly valid. Now, I hope you didn't watch this video and think it's still a load of nonsense, as I know that a lot of people on my Twitter did when I first asked the question about lifestyle design. This is about living the life that you want and taking real steps to get there. Thank you so much for watching. I make videos on entrepreneurship, the future of mobility and electric cars, including my journey from petrolhead to EV owner. If you want to see more of that kind of thing, hit the subscribe button. And if you found this video helpful, please hit like as well. I'd love to hear from you in the comments what you think of this. Do you still think it's a load of nonsense? Or are you going to try this out for yourself? I'd love to know. I'm putting out videos twice a week, so I will see you in the next one. Thank you for watching.